Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Today, woo, it's a very cool day. It's a very special episode, too, man. We got a fighter in the house. We got a legend in the house. We got a beast in the house. I'm here with my main man, he's a former fighter, you know what I'm saying? He trained some of the biggest fighters in the octagon, man, and woo! And let me do my intro before I introduce this guy. This is the In Your Face show. And I'm here with my main man, Mr. John Heckleman. Take it away, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So, man, how's life going, man?
Man, it's a it's a grind, man. But when you do what you love, man, it's like you're not even working. You're grinding, but it's like you're grinding in the zone all the time. And when you hate what you do or you don't like what you do, the grind is ugly and it's tiring and it's boring and you're just wasting your time. You feel like, but when you love what you're doing, man, the grind is a pleasure, and that's how I feel. Every day I wake up and I can't believe I got another day. Thank God every day that I get to work hard, but it's I wouldn't be doing anything else since 1970, man.
Oh,
Bing.
wow. Oh, wow, man.
That-
1970. Oh, God.
That's
So, how
70.
long have you been teaching martial arts?
And
Mixed martial arts?
well, I've been doing martial arts since 1970, and I've been teaching. I used to teach a little here and there at my old gym. Then I opened up my first gym in 1985, uh,
Oh,
Woodland Hills, California, and it was in my backyard. And it was because I was a fighter, ending my career. My career was getting near the end, but I still had some more fights left in me. But I had 3 kids, so I had to work full time because kickboxing champions didn't make much money.
mm.
So, so I, uh, so I had a job. I went to school. I became a registered nurse, and I worked the graveyard shift in the ER for years. But I trained during the day, and that gym where I built the gym just to train myself, but I bring in sparring partners, training partners, and then all of a sudden people start training with me. Next thing you know, I'm training them, um, and so then I fully retired in 1990. I thought I did. Then I moved up to San Luis Obispo, California, Arroyo Grande. That's where I am now, and I was still a registered nurse, working the graveyard, built a gym on my backyard again so I could keep my training up. And then next thing I know, I'm sparring with guys like Chuck Liddell and some other, pretty tough guys. And all of a sudden, one of them wanted to fight. It was Chuck. Chuck wanted to fight. And I was just training people. I was just having a good time. We trained. It was called Hawaiian Kempo. He actually got his black belt in it, but he wanted to fight, and I was like, "Bro, we're just training. I mean, my career's ending. I don't really want to stay in the career, stay in fighting anymore. I just want to train guys and have a good time." But Chuck was like, he was insistent. He wanted to fight. So I go, "Oh shit, okay, I'll train you." So next thing I know, I got a heavyweight or light heavyweight champion of the world in the UFC, and then I have a heavyweight, I had a middleweight, I had a welterweight, I had a lightweight, and so it just went from there. It just snowballed from there, and Chuck and Glover were my 2 top guys, and when they retired, finally Glover retired, I told myself I'm not going to train fighters anymore. I'm going to retire too and just teach martial arts, which is my passion. So basically, I have a couple fighters right now, amateur fighters. If they might go pro, if they do, I'll try to get them to a title. But if not, I'm not taking any new fighters, and I'm kind of semi-retired from the fight game now. I spend 97% of my time when I'm working training Hawaiian Kempo students,
Oh
just
wow.
real martial arts students. So kids don't get bullied in school, and so adults can protect their fucking family and don't get, just you turn a lot of things you do in martial arts. You're turning a lot of times you got to turn betas into alphas. It's a big thing for martial arts. It's especially if you teach it right. You want these beta males to turn into alpha males, and alpha males don't have to be cocky, and they don't have to be definitely not bullies. An alpha male just means like if somebody's about to take your lunch money or your family's lunch money or somebody in your community's lunch money, you're going to take care of that. So that's what I consider an alpha male. So that's what I do now. I just train guys and promote. I do black belt promotions, and it's a good life, man. Teaching but I still train some fighters here and there, and I still am very involved in the MMA world. Um, but I'm not as interested in traveling the world training fighters anymore.
Hmm. So I have a question, right? What was it like training with Chuck Liddell?
Ah, man, I don't know. It was. I mean, the thing about Chuck, he's tough as shit. Everybody knows that. Um, but he's the most loyal, generous person maybe in the world. I mean, this guy's loyalty is fucking crazy.
Mm,
Um, and we as martial artists, we talk about loyalty, courage, general. We talk about stuff like that all the time as the tenets martial artists want to have. But loyalty, I'm telling you, man, fucking most people talk so much about loyalty, but it's just a tattoo to them. They don't even know what it means. Like as
mm,
soon as something better comes or they can get something out of something else, they'll become disloyal like in no time. Um, but people, when you meet people like Chuck's loyalty was just unbelievable. It was like his loyalty and his generosity were world famous, and so was Glover's, and so was a lot of my fighters were like that, and I'm proud of them. I didn't have fucking douchebags always getting in trouble and doing fucking stupid ass things outside of their fighting careers. I wouldn't tolerate that. I would, if somebody got in a fight outside the cage or the ring, and I found out that it wasn't 100% the other guy's fault. If it was even a little bit my guy's fault, I would punish him. They would be suspended or kicked off the team or something like that. When my students now, if they pick a fight at school and I find out about it, because I'm in touch with my students' teachers, all of my kids. We have a couple hundred kids, but we're in touch with their students. We write them notes and we're in touch with them. We want to know, and their parents. We want to know if my students' kids are bullying. If my kids, if any of my kids bully anyone, seriously, they get seriously punished or just kicked out of the gym. But I don't tolerate that at all. And guys like Chuck are a shining example of like what to do, how to carry yourself um, as a martial artist. And that's he was like that. He's just that's the way he always was ever since I started training with him in the early 90s when we had a little fight, and that's how we met, and he's always been that guy.
right, right, right. So I have another question. Like, so do you think the UFC back then? What is the difference between the UFC back then and the UFC now?
Well, just like every sport in the world, right? Like, I mean, for what is the first 100 something years, they couldn't break the 4 minute mile. Right now, why are people faster now? Why do But they are. So now the four minute mile is the thing of the past. So all sports are like that. I'm sure baseball, as far as fast as the pitches are, or whatever. But MMA is the same. It's just growing, and it's people are getting better, and the fighters are getting better. But it's all relative, because you know they fought each other at their same level back in 1998, and now 2024, they're so much better, but they're still equal. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
they're growing with each other. So they just pushing each other, and they're becoming so good. It's scary how good they're going to get. Because if you look at another sport, I don't really watch any other sport like baseball. Oh, you can hit a ball farther. Who cares? That's not going to get you anywhere in life if you don't play baseball. Oh, I can pitch a ball faster. Okay. I can run faster and do a tackle more. That's great. Oh, I can do basketball and do a spinning hook shot or whatever. That's
Mm-hmm.
great. They keep getting better, but that doesn't translate into real life. Martial arts, these guys are getting so much better, and they're pushing other students that don't fight, but it's building everyone. Martial artists today are so much better than martial artists of yesterday, and a huge reason for that is because of MMA, and especially the UFC, because it is the best testing grounds for MMA or martial arts than there's ever been. We used to have to test our stuff, and we did this. We used to have to test our stuff in the street, in a street fight, in a school fight. I'd be practicing stuff all the time that I learned in my gym. We didn't get in trouble in school if we got in a fight. We just got told to go back to class. Sometimes we got a spanking, but we would just go back to class. Now, if you get in a fight in school, they put you on a fucking no-fly list and consider you a terrorist. It's like they make such a big deal about schoolyard fights now. Um, and street fights. If you get in a street fight now, you're going to go to prison or you're going to die. In the old days, you would just go back home and you'd shake hands with a guy. It's not like that anymore. So where can you practice this stuff that you're practicing in the gym? Where can you see it working? You can't go run around getting in street fights. You watch it on the UFC, and it's showing you the techniques you're learning, how they really work, and how they translate into real life uh, techniques.
Mm-hmm.
The UFC has um, changed martial arts more than anything ever has, and Bruce Lee was well on the way of doing that, but he died too young. So the UFC, I think the UFC took over at a much higher rate than that what Bruce Lee was doing, because he was, to me, the original pioneer of martial arts. And then it was Royce Gracie or Hoist Gracie. Sorry, Hoist. But anyway, because they say they're R's with an H.
Right, right, right. So I have a question. Like, you know, what made your career in fighting be so short? What made it so short?
Um, there was a lot of things. I didn't love fighting. I didn't have a passion for fighting. I fought out of necessity where I grew up. Um, I grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii. I don't know if you know it or not, but they don't like white people. They call them haoles, usually fucking haoles. But it's a rough place. Honolulu is a rough place, and a lot of parts in Honolulu. Doesn't have to be like serious ghetto, but they just in high school or grade school, they just they picked on the white kids, and I knew that at a young age. So I got my ass down to a martial arts gym, and I didn't want to get picked on. I heard horror stories about what happens later. Like when I was in grade school, like fifth grade, fourth grade, I heard about what happens once you get to seventh grade, and that's junior high school, and that's when things got rough. I heard. So I started training at a martial arts gym at 10, and I was like, practicing. I practiced like I didn't want to get the shit kicked out of me. I heard stories about Kill Howley Day and stuff like that. And there's all these, they exaggerate a lot. I know they didn't really like the Howleys. I can prove, I know that for a fact. But there was no Kill Howley Day where they kill Howleys. But as a kid, I heard about these things. So I trained really hard when I was young. And my martial arts instructor happened to be just a great guy in my eyes, but he was a convicted criminal and he was in and out of prison. Very violent person. Never was violent towards me, but I've seen him, what he could do. And he was, like I said, he had a reputation of being a very violent person, in and out of prison, spent over 20 years in prison. But he was my instructor and he was my mentor. And he was my instructor from 1970 till he passed away in 2001. And before he passed away, he was at Chuck's black belt test. He was at, he took part in my gym, but he was a really rough guy and he taught a real rough style called Kaju Kempo. I don't know if you ever heard that. It's called Kaju Kempo, and it's a very rough martial art created in Hawaii, 1947. And so it made me tougher real quick. And when I got to school, I got picked on a little bit. And then all of a sudden, I didn't anymore. I got into a fight with this guy, and he wasn't a guy that, was used to getting the shit kicked out of him by a skinny little Howley. And he did in front of a lot of people. And my being bullied days they ended that day. That day when I beat up Daryl Silva, I never got picked on again in my life. And it was because of that. And I was able to do that because of the way my instructor trained me so rough. I didn't want to end up in prison like him, but I did like the way he pushed toughness and animal instinct, killer instinct. When he hits the ground, you always finish him on the ground. He was just a rough guy. And that style was perfect for me. And that's the style I taught. And it ended up translating well into me training MMA fighters.
Mm.
Go figure.
Do you, do you think your style of fighting transcended, like how a lot of other fighters fight today?
Yeah, I do. And to go back, talk about my fighting. So I always fought, and that's just all I did. Then all of a sudden, my instructor noticed that I was kind of good when I'd spar. I was usually better than the other kids. So he sent me to a boxing gym nearby, Palolo Boxing Gym, right next to Palolo Housing Project. And it was a perfect place for me to be at 14 years old. Next thing I know, I was winning Golden Gloves. And so I took boxing very seriously, but I continued training my martial art. But I boxed. I won Golden Gloves. Then I joined the Army because I thought we were going to war back in, I think it was 80 or 90, 79 when they took the hostages. So I joined the Army, and obviously they gave back the hostages, and I didn't have to go to war. So I joined the boxing team instead. So when I got out of the Army, I became a pro boxer. So all these things kind of led to me fighting. Um, uh, and then I was a pro boxer when I got out of the Army. And then I got suspended because I elbowed a guy in a fight, and then I headbutted another guy. So I got suspended by the commission, California State Commission. I was a dirty fighter, and I wasn't a really good boxer. I was good enough to win the Golden Gloves, but I wasn't really that good, and I didn't really love it. But when I got my license suspended, my buddy who I was training with, Pete Sugarfoot Cunningham, one of the greatest kickboxers of our era, brought me over to Benny the Jet Urquidez gym, the greatest fighter kickboxer
Yeah,
of
it
our.
is, man. Yeah, it is.
And I started fighting that with at their gym, and it was just because if I felt like I was supposed to do that, but I never really loved it. Like like loved to fight. Glover loved to fight. Seiler loved to fight. Court McGee loved to fight. Some of those guys loved to fight. They were like in the dressing room. They couldn't wait to get out there. When I was in the dressing room, I was like, "Oh fuck, I got to go out pretty soon." I didn't love it, and I wasn't great at it. I was good at it. I wasn't great at it by any means. But then my career started getting slower. I fought a couple more times. Then me and Chuck went at it in kind of a really heavy duty sparring match. And that was the first time we met. He asked me to train him. I started to. I realized I like training people better than I like fighting. I have been
Oh, man.
fighting. And so that's where my training career began.
Wow. Mm. So, you know, I seen that in the UFC back then. They used to go bare knuckles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But what made them start to wear like those heavy duty gloves like they wear now?
The bare knuckle, they tried that before in boxing back in the day. They tried to do bare knuckle boxing. It didn't work because everybody was breaking their hands. So the
Hmm.
fights would always end because people were breaking their hands. They would just end up punching in the body. It was boring to watch. So they stopped that and made gloves. And boxers got to use gloves. They get hit a lot harder, cause a lot more brain damage, but the fights were more exciting. Same thing happened in MMA. They start off with with no hand, no gloves or anything, and everybody was breaking their hands. So it became boring because then everybody just started grappling more. Grappling in and of itself is boring without striking or submitting. So
Hmm.
so um, like if you watch two guys wrestling, right? You walk into a huge arena, say you put 1,000 people in a big arena, and there's two rings. One ring, there's two people punching each other in the face. One ring, there's two people grappling. I would bet you out of 1,000 people, 990 of them would go watch the two people punching each other. You
Right.
know,
True that.
people,
True that.
yeah. So the gloves make it so your hands don't break so easy, so it makes the fight more exciting. So
Mm.
they can sell more tickets.
Okay. Right. That's true. True. So I want to ask you. So who was the hardest hitting martial artist that you faced?
Uh, that I faced, or that I trained, or that I
That you,
seen.
that you trained and you faced basically.
Oh, okay. So it would have been probably, it's a different kind of hard hitting, but I would say first Alex Pereira,
Mm.
right? He's the light heavyweight champion right now. Uh,
Hmm.
and he's one of my grandkids in martial arts, because he's trained. So my kid, my student Glover Teixeira, trains him. So he's like once removed. He's like my grandkid,
Mm.
right? Because I train Glover, Glover trains him. Um,
Mm.
so I've held mitts with him and held shields, and his hitting power is a level that's scary. I mean, it's one reason. I mean, he's fucking knocked enough people out. I think a lot of people know that. But Chuck Liddell had heavy, heavy, heavy hands because of his timing. A lot because of his timing. He just knew that right hand just landed. And then Glover hit like fucking Mike Tyson when especially the beginning of his career, when he started coming out with those overhand rights and those left hooks. When I first started training him and he lived in my guest house, I used to make him his homework. When we get home from the gym, his homework was to study videos of Mike Tyson, and I wanted him
Mm.
to be just like Mike Tyson. Then he got to meet Mike Tyson. He got to hang out and train with Mike Tyson. Once Glover started getting up there, you know, uh, Mike Tyson, I think, reached out to him and they started training together, which was so cool.
Ah, man. Man.
Yeah,
Ooh. So you're a legend in your own right, man.
I'm a legend. You know who I'm the biggest legend? Honestly, I am a legend. I can admit that I'm a legend, and I'm the biggest legend right in my own fucking mind. That's what it is.
I
No,
mean, hey, you
it's
can't
old.
help it.
I've been there. I've done that, and I'm old.
Hey, you can't help it if people, you know what I'm saying, look up to you and really inspired by you by what you did. I mean,
I'm
you inspired, you know, I say a whole generation of boxers and fighters and actually MMA fighters in the UFC. The whole fighting style is impeccable.
Yeah, I think myself, and Chuck and Glover, we've helped shape some things and change some things and introduce some things, and we took a lot too. I've
Hmm.
taken a shit ton from the things I've learned from the UFC guys and fighters and shit, and a lot of guys. I've had the honor, I've had the privilege of training guys. I've had world champion UFC fighters stop me, um, stop me, like in a casino in Vegas. And, these are world champion UFC fighters. And they say, "Hey, Pitmaster, I watch your video, man. Thanks for, I've been working on my left hook because of you. Thanks a lot." So when I see that, I'm like, oh shit, man, this is shit's real. And somebody asked if I met, yes, yeah, I met Dana White a lot. I was on episode or two two seasons of Ultimate Fighter, right? So yeah, I bet, and Glow and Dana, we worked with Chuck a lot, and we both uh, we both were looking out for Chuck. He was he was he was promoting Chuck, and I was Chuck's guy. So we spent a lot of time going back and forth on stuff back in the day with Chuck, and yeah, he's incredible what he's done with this fucking sport. And I mean, there's other promotions, and there's other good promotions, and there's other good promoters, but Dana White, I think, has changed for the better the sport of UFC more than anyone else has since Hoist Gracie.
Wow,
I said it.
yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. But look at what he does. I mean, he's turned this sport. I mean, I love some of the other promotions, just like I love double A baseball and triple A baseball, but there's nothing like the major leagues. It's nothing like the major leagues. You can go play basketball in Canada. That might be great, but there's nothing like the NBA,
Uh
right?
huh. Uh huh.
Once you hit, the you can go play football in fucking Colombia, but there's nothing like the NFL. It's just the UFC is the top. It's the top of the ladder, the top of the food chain in MMA, and for a reason. And a big reason for that, huge reason for that, is Dana White.
Mm,
That's
mm, mm.
yeah.
So, well, you know what was the so what did you do now? What is your main goals now? You know, now that well, now that
I
huh?
think right now I wake up every morning and I have an online dojo. I call it the Pit Online Dojo, where I have students online all over. So I teach, and so I'm doing an online program. I have a martial arts school, the biggest one in our town. It's pretty big. It's like 10,000 square feet. We have probably 300 students, and we teach Hawaiian Kempo and Kaju Kempo. And we have a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu program at our gym. So we just teach kids and adults, just about 50-50 kids and 50% adults, just how to protect themselves, how to train hard, how to how to not be bullied, how to not be scared if they have to walk down the street at night. Just trying to, I'm trying to build a community of people that refuse to let anyone take their lunch money. You know,
Wow, very understandable.
ready to take my guy's lunch money, and that's a very very important. It's important. It's important to me. I take a lot of pride in creating, you know, people that are harder to kill.
Right, right. And I understand that's why kids need to learn how to fight because you like it's like you never know. Kids getting killed nowadays, just for standing up for themselves and just for getting bullied and shit like that. And that's
Yeah,
a shame.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But it's been like that a long time, man. There's always been it's changed in certain ways, but what stayed the same is like weak people. It does. I mean, this is where I've been in trouble before, and I got canceled and taken off my accounts, and um, a lot of other things. But one of them is wait, it's hold on. Okay, so it's part of the reason is like I just don't want the the bullying, to I don't know. It's turned into a thing where you defend yourself against the bully. Now you're the fucking bad guy because you're infringing, you know, you're on the bully, and he now all of a sudden, you hurt his feelings, and now things become about feelings, and me doing that is all of a sudden I'm this big ugly, white male who's white straight male, who's who's the just the evil person because he's being rough and he's doing this and doing that. And it's like, so when you do this now, you just have to be so careful about everything you do. And it's, the martial arts has such a strong, it lays a strong taste in people's mouth of what somebody can be, but then some of the people who just won't they don't like it because they're weak and cowardly. That's my whole thing. I'm saying, I was trying not to say it, I'm gonna say it. The fucking whole problem is whether you're black, you're white, you're gay, you're trans, you're this, you're that, it doesn't matter. If you're brave and strong mentally, nobody will pick on you. You're not going to be bullied. I I know some of the toughest guys in Hawaii they used to call them, they're trannies, right? And we used to call them, they used to dress up like girls and dance. We had a guy named Prince Hanalei get on the stage, dress up like a girl. He would dance down in Hawaii and on Hotel Street. Guess what? Prince Hanalei loved to street fight. He was a known knockout guy who would love to street fight.
Mm.
But he dressed like a girl and danced on the stage, right? But guess what? Nobody picked on him because he was brave and he could fight. Nobody cares about your sexual orientation or anything else. If you're brave, nobody's going to pick on you. If you're weak, you could be a straight white male or a straight black male. If you're weak, you will get picked on. That's what it takes. When you become courageous, which martial arts does better than anything else, martial arts makes you brave. When you're brave, no one will bully you. No one will pick on you. You don't need a safe space. You don't need a little flag. If you're brave, that's all you need. That's all you need right there. Nothing else matters. Is that too much? Was that right?
No, no, you be honest. That's what the in your face show is about, baby. You gotta say how you feel. Say what the fuck you want to say. Whatever
Hey,
the fuck you want to say. Whatever the fuck you want to say. Say it. You know what I'm saying? That's my slogan, baby. You know.
I did.
Yeah, man. Say it, hey, baby. You know you gotta say it. Hey, you know what I mean? Shit. Hey, it's not. Look, I the way I feel is that when I put this show out, I meant for it to be the best. And I tell people, you get the good, the bad, the ugly. If people don't like what you say, people don't if people get offended by what you say. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck. It's fun. It's the in your face show for a reason. If
Yeah,
you do not like the content, turn it off.
it's a
Turn
good.
it
That's a
off.
good, yeah, that's a good name.
The in your face show, yes sir. You know what I'm saying? It came from being brash and being rough and being rugged and
Yeah.
and toughing it out whenever you go to a fight. No.
That's looked down on now, like being macho, being masculine. All that shit is looked down on now, and that's what saved our life, and that's what builds buildings, and that's what protects people from evil people that aren't really tough. They're not really masculine, but they're just fucking evil. And when you're evil, you need a tough guy that's gonna fucking protect you. That doesn't mean they're bad; they're good, right? So that's where the people, as soon as they hear the word tough or masculine or macho, they equate that with bad. That's not bad. Those are betas that think that's bad. It's only bad because they're weak and coward, and they're cowards, and they're timid. But if you're strong and tough and macho and masculine, but you're going for right, you're going to protect people, you're going to do right by people, you're not going to commit crimes, you're going to build things, you're going to create things. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's what
Yeah.
drives me nuts. And I try to carry that on at my gym. I try to carry that on with my fighters. I try to carry that on with all of my students. You know, be tough. Because I don't care if you're a tranny. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're not. I don't care what you are. As long as you're a good person and you're not a fucking douchebag who likes to pick on people and you're not a criminal, then more power to you. Be brave. Nobody's gonna pick on a brave, strong, transgender anything. Nobody will. Bullies only pick on weak, cowardly people. Period.
Yeah.
Bing,
Scary.
bing.
Yeah, and and that's just true. Man. Because at the end of the day, man, that's why I said, you know, young kids today. I think they should put for kids curriculum for kids. I think they should learn how to fight. You know what I'm saying? I think they should actually put a curriculum in the schools where they have to learn how to fight. They have to, put that in schools because kids nowadays either getting gunned down or you know what I'm saying, and all
Yeah,
that shit because they don't want to fight.
yeah,
Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And I grew up in the hood, so if you didn't fight, you get in trouble by your mom and your dad. They're gonna whip your ass. You know what I'm saying? You gotta fight your mom and your dad. So you don't want to go back to your mom and dad because you gotta, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta go back out there and get your ass whipped again, or you gotta fight them. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? You gotta fight
yeah.
because I was always
It's
taught. Go ahead,
It's
go ahead.
frowned upon now, and it's treated like it's such a terrible thing. But I'm telling you, when two guys fight, it's as natural as fucking two girls gossiping. Guys like to fight, and sometimes they do. Back in my day, we didn't get in a shit ton of trouble for getting a fight. They would just separate us, and usually one of us or both of us would get a spanking, and then we'd go back to class. Usually we'd shake hands. Nowadays, oh shit. So yes, there's not. Here's one thing kids got to learn: getting punched in the face isn't going to kill you. Once
Mm,
a kid learns that, getting punched in. Because where I live now, the town I live in, hardly anybody's been in a fight by the time they graduate high school. In ours, when I grew up, I don't think you could have not been in a fight. By the time you're out of sixth grade, you've probably been in a few fights. But here, it's just, and a lot of towns, it's just boys don't get in fights. So they think of fighting and it's like getting punched in the face is like way up there. Like, oh, it's like, I don't know, it's like something that's going to kill them. No, you can punch each other in the face and then walk away. It's just going to settle a beef. You want
Yeah,
to be the one that wins, but either way, you're not going to get killed by getting punched in the face.
yeah. Nowadays, people rather use guns to try to settle their differences. You rather
Yeah,
take a life rather than get your ass whipped,
yeah,
or fight and get it over with. But
yeah.
I
But
don't get.
here's what I think about that. I think that's true in some ways, but I think even the best fighters or the worst fighters, I think a bad person is a bad person. And sometimes a bad person is really tough. Unfortunately, they can fight. That's bad when a bad person can fight. But that's why we, as good people, we got to be able to fight too. And the gun
Mhm.
thing, I think even guys that can fight, that really good can fight, will use a gun because they're just fucking crazy. But like you were saying, the majority of people that do the guns at school, they're usually betas. They're usually really, really, really wimpy guys. I mean, almost all the mass shooters in school, they, when they talk about him later and oh yeah, that he was always getting bullied. He was always, yeah. When you look at him or you hear him talk, they're always really effeminate kind of guys that aren't really masculine. They're really feminine guys. Most of these mass shooters are really wimpy, physically wimpy people that probably just can't deal with the fact that they're so wimpy and they just gotta, I gotta do something, right? So I think martial arts teaching you how to fight, I think would prove more. I think it would improve more of today's problems than any other single thing you could teach a kid.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, teaching the kids martial arts is basically, it could go a long way because it could teach them self control. It'll teach them self control, and basically stay level headed. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And it'll stay basically also too. It'll keep them, concentrating. Yeah, watch their surroundings and shit.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because you never know. You might get jumped one day. They might try to jump you one day. You might have to learn how to take on three to five people. You know what I'm saying? You may take an ass whooping one day, but you know
yeah,
what? As long as you live to fight another day, don't pick up no gun and try to shoot nobody because you got your ass whipped. Fight
yeah.
again. You know what I'm saying? I was always taught that you don't pick up a gun after you get your ass whipped. Get up there, fight again. Go get that motherfucker, get your lick back. You know
But
what I'm saying?
that's true. But then, with that said, a gun, since there are so many bad people with guns, we need more good people with them.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's a lot of bad people. There's a lot of bad people, and no law, no regulation is gonna keep the gun out of the bad people's hands. I mean, fucking meth is illegal, and everybody was doing meth, right?
Right.
Whatever's illegal, anyone that wants to do it is still gonna do it. The criminals will always do it. So with that, knowing that, if nobody had a gun in the world and for some reason they all the guns disappeared, I would never care about a gun in the world ever. But
Mhm.
since everybody, all the bad guys do have a gun, there's my equalizer.
Right.
So
Because you never know. You never know when somebody's going to try to rob you. You never know when somebody's going to try to, come into your house. You're going to have to whip their ass in the house.
yeah, Yeah, you
And
do you hear about the do you hear about the fight that Anthony Johnson? No, Anthony was it Anthony Johnson or Anthony Smith? Huh? Anthony. Wait, it was Anthony Smith. Okay, Anthony Smith, who's a UFC fighter. He fought Glover, my guy Glover, but he was on my podcast too. It was kind of weird because he was on my podcast after he fought my guy. But anyway,
wow,
um, but he he used to have he has a gun in his bedside table, right? Um, and his wife woke him up in the middle of the night and said there was somebody in the house. There's like a burglar in the house, and he reached for his gun, and he forgot it in the car, and the bad guy was downstairs, and his daughters were in a bedroom right down the hallway, and he didn't know what to do because this there was two people in his house, so he didn't know what to do. So he's a family man and a brave fucking guy. He went down there without any weapons and attacked the guy ended up being a drug addict, and he broke into the house, and there ended up being one guy left, but he beat the shit out of this guy, and the guy got arrested. But that's what you call bravery, bro. That's what you call to protect his family. He didn't go, oh, call 911 and wait. He didn't want anybody touching his. He had two daughters and a wife. He said, fuck that. And he left his, he just walked down, down the stairs and saw some guy in his living room, and he just fucking went at it. And he said it was a fucking tough guy who was hitting him back and shit, but he ended up beating the guy up, holding the guy. His wife did call the cops, and he held the guy till the cops came. So anyway, he wished he had his gun, but it all worked out without.
and that's sometimes some things sometimes you don't need a gun at the moment to disarm a situation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Sometimes
Right.
you need one, sometimes you don't need one.
But if you need one and you don't have one, oh shit.
Oh yeah, man.
If you don't need one and you have one, that's no big deal. But if you need
Uh-huh.
one and you don't have one, holy shit.
Yeah,
Jumping out of
man.
a plane. It's like jumping out of a plane saying, shit, I forgot my parachute. Too late.
All right, now it's time to jump. Fuck it. You
See?
know what I mean?
Martial arts right there.
It's,
That's
and
what
that's you said what?
that's my martial arts mind right there.
Well, and that's
You know how to fight. If you don't know how to fight and you get jumped, you're fucked. You're just getting the shit kicked out of you in front of your wife and your kids. They'll never look at you the same again. If you get the shit kicked out of you in front of your wife and kids and you defend yourself like this, you can't discipline your kids the same ever again, because they're gonna look at you like, my dad's a bitch. But okay, but now you train really hard, right? And you learn how to defend yourself. The way you walk, hardly anyone is ever going to want to pick on you again, right? And
hmm
if you never get jumped, guess what? You still have confidence and you look good at the beach.
mm,
Yeah.
hmm hmm
There's no downside in training.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why at the end of the day, it's it's a silver lining with that. You know, what I'm saying? You said you got to be able to fight. You got to know how. You got to at least know how to a little bit how to fight, a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just to protect yourself.
Every male, well, both, but I'm gonna go with males first. Every male in this country should know how to fucking defend themselves. They talk about changing tires or doing some, I don't know, fixing things around the house. That's important too. I'm not real good at that, honey. Shut up. But I'm not good at that kind of stuff. But at least I can defend my family, and that's kind of a big deal.
Hell yeah, it is. It's a big deal because you're a man. You're a man. A woman is going to look for protection. That's what you know. What I'm saying, a woman needs protection. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, yeah, they need protection most of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So my wife just got her black belt this year.
Well,
I'm
that's a
pretty.
badass right there. Y'all gonna protect each other. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes when we're walking at night, it's a dangerous place and shit. Like sometimes we go to LA, some just to hang out, and we end up in kind of not that great neighborhoods, and we're walking at night. I feel a lot safer now, when I'm walking with my wife than before her being a badass black belt. So, sometimes I'll even ask her like, you got my six, and she always does. So
That's the best way to go. You know what I mean, man? That's something that you need. I mean, shit. I wish some shit. If you have a wimpy partner that's scary, you know what I'm saying? What can you do? You know what I mean? It's a shit. I mean, but hey, you never know what could happen. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. Never know. That's how
yeah.
I see it. You know what I mean? Like, so what is it like being the trainer of such legends in the game? What is it like being
It's you know what? I mean, it's it makes me proud of them. I got lucky and I worked hard and I got lucky and it's like guys like I mean just for a little gym. I mean we're a mom and pop gym. I mean me and my wife run the gym and we've had some of the best fucking MMA guys, UFC guys in the world. I mean we've had everybody from the Diaz brothers training at our gym. Guys like Rockhold, guys like Cain Velasquez, guys, and then my guys, Chuck Liddell, Glover, guys like Ramsey Nijum, Court McGee. We had Cruz Gomez. We have the Von Floof choke guy, Jason Von Flu. So we've had so many people training there, and it makes me proud that I was able to maybe help people realize their goal and not only in defending themselves and not being bullied, but um, some guys I've helped them create a life where they're set for life now. They'll never, I mean, like some of my guys have been fought in the UFC. I mean, they'll never have to worry about financially anything. And that feels good. I mean, that's not the most important thing in life. I mean, you got health and all that, but I mean, knowing that you're financially taking care of the rest of your life, that feels good, you know. And I'm proud that my guys have had from that to just everything, all their experiences in life. They can walk around knowing I was a fucking champion in the UFC. Glover Teixeira, Chuck Liddell. We got Alex Pereira, Court McGee won Ultimate Fighter. I mean, how many guys do that? Not many. So I'm proud for them, and it feels good that I was part of their journey. Everybody says journey now. So I was part of their journey, and that makes me happy. Um, and I'm lucky that I was around such fucking guys with such huge hearts. So they were so tough, and it feels good to corner guys like that and to be associated with guys like that.
awesome, awesome, awesome? So, what is your podcast about?
Uh, um, we talk about everything from traditional martial arts. It's not even a podcast. It's a like I think like podcast. You're not supposed to say podcast because I don't know. There's some things that makes it alive, but then what's the difference between a live and a podcast?
This show.
I don't even
Yeah,
know. So whatever we do, it's me and this guy named Angelo, and he's in Japan. He's a Kaji Kempo guy, and we just talk about everything from Kaji Kempo to traditional martial arts, which I love. That's one of my favorite topics is traditional martial arts. And then the UFC and MMA are like probably my I'm most well known for my UFC because
Hmm.
of Chuck and Glover and stuff. But but my passion is more, just the martial arts part of it.
Yeah, and that's why it's the best way to go when it comes to. So if somebody wants to learn how to fight, they can go to you now. You know
Come to me. I'll show you.
what I mean? Yeah, I mean. Hey, man. So do you have anything else to say to the people? What's to come? What you got? Any events coming? You got any merchandise coming? What?
Yeah,
Any
just
shows?
the pit.tv. Go to
Okay,
the
okay, okay.
pit.tv and join we have a range of online courses and we have an online dojo where you can go from white to black belt and train, and we do the same techniques that my fighters use, same techniques that my forefathers in Kaja Kempo have used. And we do that online. It's just you go to the pit.tv. Other than that, I'm just going to be teaching and oh, watch out. Oh, get up here. My doggy's getting old, man. My doggy's like, look at this little cute little doggy, little ginger. She just sits by me all day. But anyway, so that's what we do, brother. Hey, I like your show, man. You did great. Send me something on it so I can put it out.
Okay, I'll send you the live.
Is this your
I,
101?
this is actually my 190th one.
Wait, 100 what?
190th episode.
You have 190 episodes?
Yes, sir.
Holy shit! You're like you got almost as much as Joe Rogan.
That's what I'm saying. I was just grinding, man, because it's like this show has meant a lot to me, and I wanted to get the show out to people that was not getting it from the big guys. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be that guy where we're underground. So this is an uncut, unsolicited show where people get to say what the hell they want to say, whenever they want to say, however they want to say it. And it's a show where you can just let your hair down and be yourself. And on those big shows that Joe Rogan is on, Rampage Jackson, you can't say much really on there because you'll get canceled or
Yeah.
you'll get cut or you know what I'm saying. And my show, you ain't getting cut because
They'll lose their sponsors, and
exactly. And
that's where they're making their money.
yeah, and that's why I said, um, my shows is live too. I don't
Yeah,
edit it. I don't cut it. My shows is all uncut. You get the ugly, you get the clean, you get the ugly, the dirty, and the nice. The
I
good, the
love
bad, the ugly, basically.
good, the
You
bad,
know
and
what
the
I mean?
ugly.
And you
This-
let Mr. Joe Rogan know that I'm on his ass. I'm coming for him. Nah. I'm right there with him, baby. But he's somebody that I look up to for, what I'm saying, that inspired me to do it the way I do it now. And
yeah,
I've seen Mike Tyson do it, and
he's a good guy.
yes,
Rampage.
I've wanted. Yes, Rampage Jackson, man, he's one of my favorite fighters, man.
What about
Rampage,
Dean
yes,
Thomas?
sir.
Was
Hmm.
I was on their show. That was I forget what they call it. Something with the UFC because he works for the UFC. Dean Thomas.
Oh
Uh,
wow, man.
yeah,
I see.
we
It's crazy because I would love to have some. I would love to have Cain Velasquez or Rampage Jackson on the show, or the Diaz brother, one of the Diaz brothers, man, on the show.
let me try. Let me try to reach out to one of them.
Okay, not a problem, man.
I'll get
You
him. I'll,
know,
I'll get him to. I'll try to get him to get one of your show. Get on your show. Okay,
hey,
out of
it'll be.
all the people, if you get on all these people, you kind of look like Rampage. You should have him on.
I don't. Hey, if you can put it together, let's get it together. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind it.
I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna put him. Connect him with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because I would. This guy is. I watched his whole career, man.
My
He was
God, I
a
love him.
monster.
He's one of my
Yeah,
favorite. He's one of my. He's fought. He's fought two of my guys.
exactly.
One of my guys lost to him, and one of my guys beat him.
Uh,
Yeah,
see,
Glover beat him, and he beat Chuck.
and that's the best part, man.
I still
That's
love. I
why.
love him, man. I love that
Yeah,
guy. So yeah,
that's
I'll reach out to him. I don't talk to him ever, but I'll reach out to him. He might go with it.
you know what? I'll make you proud, man. I'm telling you, that'll be. I'll make you proud, man. I'll make you proud. Promise. I'm a man of my word. I'm gonna make you proud, man. Just let
Uh,
the people know, man. When you put this out, let them know you was on the up and coming in your space show. We on our way to the top. You know what I'm saying? 190 episodes, baby, and we on our way to 200 episodes. Can you believe it? 200 episodes
I think you
before
know what. Joe? Yeah, I think on your title, I think you should take off the.
the. Okay,
Look
and
at
just
it.
put in your space show.
Because it says the in your face show, but I think you should just say in your face show.
That's a good way to go about that. You know what I'm saying? We could do that. I could do that. You could do that. I could do that. Yeah,
You could ask somebody else. What do you think, honey?
200 episodes. 200, baby.
Just in your
200, baby.
He's going up on 200 episodes. Well, anything I could do to help, brother, let me know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna try
200
to.
episodes.
I'm gonna
Yes,
talk.
sir.
I'm gonna talk to Rampage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, sir.
All right,
We gonna
brother.
see. Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
bro.
All right. Let me take you out, bro. Let me take you out.
Take me out.
Thank y'all for watching. It's been well. It's been great with Mr. John Heckelman. It's been the In Your Face show. Until the next time, peace. We out of here.
Bang.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir.
All right, bro. Oh, that okay? We good?
Yes, sir.